So here it is, another episode of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. So now that we're on the 12th episode, we gotta definitely see what is going on. What are they about to set up to get things ready for the next arc? Because, like I said, 24 episodes in this season, so okay, this would normally be the season finale for a show, but after watching this, see what is going on, what is Rimuru's plans, and what might be happening as things go on. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like the video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We'll definitely have more reviews for other stuff in the future. But for this episode, I will have to say that this definitely reminded me of Overlord in a lot of different areas. So for those that haven't seen the anime Overlord, I don't know where you've been. You've definitely been under a rock. I would definitely say watch that, because that is an amazing, amazing anime. But Rimuru over here, you know, trying to get plans and ideas from other people and then been like, oh yeah, I so totally thought of that. Sure, that's perfect. Hey, that's a great idea. Let's do that. We didn't really see the sage in his head like discussing and talking about stuff, but I wonder if maybe if that was cut out, because it felt like a few times as Rimuru was walking around talking with this merchant that some of the ideas that were coming up that they were, you know, back and forth talking about, I was like, huh, is this actually Rimuru that's coming up with these ideas, or is it the sage in his head thinking of the ideas, but they're just kind of cutting it out for time, if you will? Because I will say that his discussions with the merchant was pretty much half the episode alone, but they did talk about a lot of different things. Fast food, setting up Veldora for the future, changing Valdora's name as an alias so people don't get scared of him, which makes loads of sense, and the Colosseum. So no matter if it's a fantasy world or not, it seems you can still get artwork commissioned, because here you have this actually extravagant artwork that would, I'll be honest, I would like to hang that somewhere myself, showing of Rimuru vanquishing a dragon and such, which is, you know, how Rimuru saved the merchant, how they met previously. And they did have a flashback to kind of recall some of the stuff that happened. This transition here, how you can see the upper part of this hero vanquishing a dragon, and then the actual person, Rimuru, is just sitting here laughing, being, you know, just chill, discussing ideas, business ideas for the future. And I find it just that contrast between the two. What if, like in today's artwork, how you look at artwork from today and you're like, man, that's striking, or it kind of gives you a certain emotion. But then, you know, what if you went back in time and actually met the person that the artwork was for? Are they really as esteemed as we hold them up to? But, you know, this is an anime, so we're just going to enjoy it the way it is. Regardless of that, I don't think Rimuru understands what he is doing when he goes to meet these people. Like before, Rimuru was just a powerful person and he met a lot of these people, whether it's in the first, second season. And now he's going to them, he's a demon lord. That's something totally different. It's not the same as it once was. And so he's asking all these people to be like, hey, why don't you move to Tempest and live under me, under my domain? Does he not understand the ramifications of what he's asking? Like when he went to the merchant and was like, hey, you know, why don't you kind of move in after we're done with the whole construction and stuff, and I could really utilize your skills. One, he is looking at this as, you know, a friend. Hey, merchant guy, you're a good friend. We bounce ideas, we really work well together. Come, you know, to my empire and we'll you know what, we'll make it awesome. But if you look at it in a different way, this is a request from a demon lord. So if this guy rejected the offer, there could be some ramifications of him being worried that, oh snap, if I deny the request of a demon lord, what happens to me? And I think that's why, to a degree, the merchant got serious and kind of like bowed a little bit, be like, I will be happy to work for you and be under you. And then Rimuru was like, hey, you don't have to, you don't have to be that serious about it. But it's true that he can't even though he's acting the same way he normally would act regardless of his status, he's really got to think about it now. Rimuru definitely thought about it when he was making the invitation for the king. As he said, being a demon lord and give an invitation to the king, that might be an issue. So he's having someone else deliver it. But he's not thinking of all the other people under the rung and the ladder. It's like, yeah, you know what? Hey, how about you do this? How about you do that? Like I said, he's just trying to be nice and be friendly, but he's way more powerful than he was before. So there's weight behind his words that Rimuru either A, doesn't care, or doesn't think about. So, brand new theme song and a brand new ending is now in play, which always gets me excited. And overall, I'm just going to say this now. I personally think that both of them are an upgrade from the beginning of the season. Now, I'm sure that's going to be, a lot of people have their own opinions of. Now, I haven't listened to the full songs off of the opening ending, but from what I had heard and seen from just watching this episode, it sounded promising to me. And we will definitely go over here in a minute and kind of see if we can ascertain some things and clues of what may be happening in the rest of this season. Now, I do like the beginning of it, how it very quickly flashes literally the beginning of the show, like where the village and where the site that Tempest is now going to be, or now is, started off from. How it's like this goblin village. It started small, nothing, but then it transitions very quickly to like what it is in today's age. And it honestly is kind of forgetful. Like, we see all these episodes of their meetings and such, but you got to remember, they started off as a very small, nothing village in a forest to now they're making a grand city, and his hope is to attract everyone to Tempest as they make this now festival to proclaim, hey, we're Tempest, and hey, I'm a demon lord. Hey, come party and let's enjoy. So meager beginnings, definitely. Now, I think it's actually pretty cool that it's showing here in the theme song all the different people that he is inviting to try to come to his grand festivals. For example, here we have Hinata, which we are now new friends with. So it's like, hey, come on over. You know, forget about what happened and, you know, how we trounced you, but just come on over and let's have some fun. You guys like parties. Let's have a good one. And now, of course, after this episode, we know of the Grand Coliseum that they're trying to build and trying to make, which I believe will be a big focal point for the rest of the season, because I don't know how quickly they're going to show this Coliseum being built, but with all their powers and ingenuity and all the people that they have in the city, I'm pretty sure that this can be built fairly quickly, honestly, before we get into some of the action of the actual fights that may be happening here. I found it interesting that they included this part, because if you remember, it was a few episodes ago that Veldora was complaining that he needs to release all his magicals, that he is accumulating too much and needs a release. So in this part of the theme song, you can see where they kind of transition down underground. So I believe under the Coliseum, they probably make some type of grand stage. So then that way, if Veldora has those moments where he has to release himself, if you will, he can actually go to Rimuru and let it all out, which is pretty interesting that they brought this back up, because I honestly forgot about it. And I remembered it when it was 2 episodes ago or last episode where Valentina was attacking Veldora and she was absorbing his magicals as well. And of course, gaining pain for him. That it's like, okay, maybe this will help in his release. I didn't say anything, but I was like, okay, I did think about that. But I'm sure it may come up again. Either A, what's going to happen is he's going to utilize this as a means to release his magicals, or B, they try to have their own little 1v1 moment, in which, of course, they can't exactly do that in the middle of the town or city, or probably even the Coliseum, because that would scare a lot of people. but he can release it here. And the fact that they are going to give Veldora an alias, which is a great idea because, you know, any visitors that come to this festival are, of course, scared of Veldora. But then if they say, hey, yeah, by the way, that's Veldora over there cooking some stuff, they're going to be like, I was scared of this dude? Look at him. He's chill. And seeing how he's technically like a power, like he is one of the most powerful characters in the show and or Tempest. So if all other nations who are normally scared of Veldora see that he's weak, they're going to be like, oh, well, then Tempest is just a pushover. Why were we scared in the first place? So you kind of got to give the mystique of Veldora's power. So I think it's a great idea that they're going to have Veldora have an alias. And of course, a blink if you missed it moment here. If you look real closely, there's some enemies that are going to be participating in this festival because they are in the theme song. Here you have one of the Rosa family enemies. So the question is, are they going to try to incite some issues here at the festival, or are they going to just wait and buy their time and try to undermine Tempest in some way? So as you can see, she has one of Veldora's foods, so she probably is going to, you know, partake and eat, but then, you know, what grand schemes are going to be cooking up in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, they did build up in this episode this Lightspeed guy. He's the champion at the Engrossi Coliseum, which apparently that Coliseum is only for nobles and such. It only holds about 10,000 people at max, while Tempest is trying to make one that's 50,000 people. So it seems that this guy is going to be coming in to try to battle. And if I can't really show it here, but the next transition is him looking, and then it shows Rimuru. So I wonder if he's going to come in here and be like, hey, I want to challenge Rimuru. When I think what's probably going to happen, which would be funny, is that he ends up taking on one of Rimuru's underlings, like whether it's Diablo or someone, and then loses horribly. I don't know. I think that would be just a hilarious moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to be, I wouldn't say necessarily the villain of this arc, but if he tries in his own way, tout his abilities to be like, oh, I'm greater than Rimuru and I can't wait to fight him. We'll see how this turns out, but this is just my speculation. And finally, we have here Yuki, Hinata. I mean, I like to see Hinata in plain clothes because I think it's pretty cool. You know, let her hair down. This is a panel of all other worlders. I find it interesting that, you know, they bring back the kids, that's cool. But I really like the fact that it's kind of showing that Hinata, who's not necessarily been a big bad, but has been so much of a strong, independent person. It's like, okay, she could finally chill, have some fun. But the biggest issue is Yuki over here. Like, we know that Yuki is planning for world domination, and he wants world domination. He wants to control this world, and he wants Rimuru dead. Because of course, if you want to have world domination, you have to get rid of a powerful player on that board. How is their interaction gonna be? I mean, we talked about this, I believe, last week, and how Yuki was being all nice to Rimuru, taking his manga, and he was like, oh man, we're cool, we're buds. And then next thing you know, he's planning, hey, Hinata, this dude is bad, kill him. So it's like, okay, Yuki, what's the play here? Is he gonna be another enemy infiltrating on Rimuru's festival and trying to be like, what we're gonna do? Because you gotta remember, the villains previously have said, hey, we've lost, so all of us are going to, in our next preparation, we're going to lay low and then figure things out. Well, if they all come to Tempest and seeing, you know, spying out what's going on here, is that going to accelerate their plans? Be like, okay, all right, we have an idea of what's going on here. Let's stop Tempest in this way. Let's figure out how to disrupt Tempest and their future goals in another way. I will have to say another tidbit is these kids. If you remember, it's been a while, but if you remember, the girl that is in the black hair below Rimuru, he gave her his mask, long ago. Now he's made a copy of it, but he gave her the mask saying how, I believe that she's going to need this in the future. When they bring the kids back, are they going to actually address the fact that, okay, how's the kids been doing? How's their power level? Are they a lot stronger than they were before? So I'm really looking forward to this next arc. I really am. Now I said finally before, but I can't leave without talking about the ending song. Not only did I really like the ending song itself, but the images that they had here, I cannot stress how artistically good they were. Here we are taking, one of Rimuru's characters, at which, of course, there were cameos of other characters under Rimuru, and just kind of having like a different art style to them. I mean, to have Shuna here as like a regular girl, she looks more, to me, the art style in this, she looked more younger, more teenage, while in the actual show, to me, she seems like a more of a young adult looking because she's more responsible and such. But here, she's like a carefree teenage girl going around town, having fun, having the day off. It is just very, very good, in my opinion. To each their own, but I really very much enjoy the opening sequence and the ending sequence this go around. And I'm very excited to see both of these. Both of them, to me, unskippable. But like I said, to each their own. Regardless, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is probably a longer of an episode, but of course we had to get into the opening and closing songs, the sequences, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this arc goes, because once the fighting actually starts, especially in the Coliseum, I believe we're going to definitely have some really good fights and probably some really good animation. What you guys think? Comment down below. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't hit the button already. I would love to see you guys around more. In the meantime, be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.